Phil Sims. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Gio. How are you today?
We're doing well. You did piss off Al Dukes, though, for not knowing anything about these drones and living in New Jersey. I mean, you got to be up with the times. You got to know what's going on. You're a resident of New Jersey. You had no idea about these things flying in the sky, and that's Al's biggest pet peeve, that everybody in New Jersey just doesn't know what's going on and not paying attention, and you're one of those people.
No, I pay attention enough. I asked Al and everything. I wanted to hear his expertise, and he told me this. Well, I don't know. So thanks for that, Al. That was good stuff. Learned a lot there. But, yeah. So, yeah, he's letting me out. We're having a little conversation waiting to come on, and there's Al stabbing me in the back. Cut away, big guy.
Well, thinking about, you are like one of the largest taxpayers in New Jersey State. So I think that you could actually put some pressure on the governor down there to get these answers out there for the citizens like Al that are concerned.
Yeah. That's a great thought. That's just not going to work. I've gone down, tried to get my, a lot of people do this. You say, well, I'm going to get my taxes lowered a little bit here, and then they go, you're lucky we don't raise it. Get out. So
exactly. We've all been there, so don't worry about that. All right. So
yes, I know.
Let's talk a little football. What the hell do you think is going on inside the Eagles locker room with Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown? Now, Brandon Graham, I'm assuming that you heard this. Brandon Graham, who was on IR, came out and basically said that there's a major rift between those two players. And, I wonder, is this going to tear the team apart, the fact that Brandon Graham let this out there, or is this going to galvanize the team?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, many things tore them apart last year, that's for sure, and it was real. There was, people not happy with this guy, that guy, whatever. I watch the Eagle games and all that, and I would say this about A.J. Brown as he runs down the field sometimes, and he's wide open, and why the ball is not coming his way. That's what he probably wants to know. And, even in the game against Carolina, there were instances where he had to be like the number one guy you look at, and the ball didn't go his way. So you know how receivers are. They can get upset by it. I never had to deal with that. I don't know if you did. Was Chris Collinsworth one of those guys moaning that he wasn't getting the football?
No, he was actually moaning that I was throwing the ball too much to him because he was. He said I shortened his career. But I will say this, to me, yes, the intimation here in regards to Brandon Graham talking about this was not an on-the-field problem. This feels like an off-the-field problem, whatever that may be.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think they also said A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts were best friends or good friends, I think, right? I read that.
Well, we thought so, but now all of a sudden there's a major issue, and I'm just wondering if this is the issue that derailed them last year is now getting ready to derail them this year, and it happens to come from an active player who's on IR now, but a very senior player within that locker room who's been there for quite some time and is very well thought of.
There are many things, but here you are on a team, and arguably the best team in the NFL, right up there with anybody you want to talk about. There's really no true weakness on any spot you look at. So I just can't imagine they would let this interfere with what's going on, where they're thinking they are truly a Super Bowl team, and they have what you need to get there. So if this derails them, that just shows you so many bad things about how weak they are. They will let this really fester and become part of what and cost them wins going down the stretch here.
It'd be unbelievable. It'd be unbelievable if it does. It'd be really disappointing.
I think the opposite happens. I think that you're going to see A.J. Brown's biggest game this week. I think that this might be the thing that brings them together now that it's out there. They're saying, listen, we got to fix this thing. We're on the road here. Like, people are talking about it now. And you're going to see like 20 targets to A.J. Brown this week.
I would say this. When you got receivers like A.J. Brown, they got Devontae Smith. He's really good too. Whatever. They're loaded. And give them the football. I mean, everybody throws about somewhere between 6 and 10 passes behind the line of scrimmage every game. Throw some screen passes to the two receivers, get them happy, give them some catches, and that's an easy way to just get rid of this situation. We had one of these turmoil things with the head coach going and yell at the fans, and I have said many times, and probably to you guys too, I thought that kind of galvanized the team. It settled them down. They got together, and they've been playing really, really well. and now this comes up. So, but you're right. A.J. Brown, I'm sure Jalen Hurts is going to be looking at him and giving him more of an opportunity to catch footballs. And like I said, yes, I understand when it gets to a certain point, the team's winning, but you want to be more of a part of it because literally it's one of the best combo wide receiver groups in the NFL. And you want those catches. And like I said, too, I guess as I watched their games, maybe I didn't pay enough attention to previous games, but when you run down the field and you're literally it's there. Maybe it might not be a touchdown, but it's going to be close a few times. And when you don't see the football, I know that we weren't that kind of team, of course. So our wide receivers did not get frustrated, but I know it's happens on a lot of teams. And again, if this derails them, if they turn into what they did last year, then they deserve it.
I'm going to go on record by saying this is an off-the-field issue that permeates on the field when Phil is just highlighting maybe some of the difficulties on the field, and that's what makes the off-the-field issue so much more intense. Now, also, we got reports, and I know that you are on this one. You know it very well. You know the story very well. Bill Belichick potentially going to North Carolina. And the fact that there are other reports out there that, NFL owners don't seem to be interested in him, and nobody has called him for any advice or any maybe oversight or something of what their teams are doing is shocking. Do you think that Bill Belichick is a legitimate candidate to take on North Carolina's football program?
I do. And I think what you're saying, I read it too and all this. I do think there would be teams out there that would be afraid of Bill Belichick coming in because he's going to really take over the organization. And look, he knows how to run one. He's had great success. So, and it's probably the reason why he didn't get a job this past year. It's just that people, owners, general managers, they want to be part of it too, and maybe they're afraid of being pushed out if they bring him in. That would be my first thought, which has been written 1,000 times already by people who cover the NFL. But going to college and his son coming along from the University of Washington, his defensive coordinator up there, I think that's all real too. Go down there, coach North Carolina for a year, 2 years, whatever, and get it to where you want it, and then you pass it along to your son. I would think that's got to be part of the equation why he's really looking into it.
Do you think he'd bring in North Carolina's greatest football player of all time, Lawrence Taylor?
And what would Lawrence do?
I don't know. Would he coach? Would he be a part of the recruiting process? I don't know.
I think the percentages of that happening are a big fat zero.
Okay.
I just can't imagine Lawrence coming down there and go, hey, let's help you recruit or this. No, Lawrence, Coach Belichick will probably show a lot of films of him hitting people and how to do it, but as far as being part of it, no, I don't think that would happen.
All right, talking to Phil Simms, the Simms Spotlight every Wednesday, 8 a.m. I ask you this every week, but every week it changes. And this past week, it got bad again. I mean, one of the worst offensive performances of the year. There's a plane flying over MetLife Stadium saying, Mr. Mara, enough, please fix this dumpster fire. 2-15 is on the table. 0-9 at home is on the table. They're the biggest home underdog of the year, I think maybe in a very long time. It is just Saquon could break the rushing record in the last week of the season against the Giants. How hard is it going to be for John Mara to sell Shane and Daboll to the diehard Giants fans, the season ticket holders, the PSL holders, if they end up going 2-15 in their 100th season?
Well, this is a tough question. I really can't answer it because I really don't want to, to the effect. We'll just see how it goes. Hopefully the Giants can win a few games down the stretch here, too. Yeah, I know, it's rough.
But they don't want to win a couple games.
They don't want to win the games. That's the problem.
Well, the coaches do, and the general manager in the front office, they want to win some games.
I don't know about that. I'm telling you, if they told John Mara candidly, like, listen, Drew Lock's worse than Tommy DeVito, Evan Neal stinks, we're going to put him out there. These guys that are hurt, we're going to tell them, hey, just chill, whatever, because we need to get either Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. And just so you know, this is what's going on because we need to finally draft a quarterback and not happen what happened last year where we missed out on those top three because we won a couple games with Tommy DeVito. Just stick with us so we can get our guy. I mean, that's not a crazy thought.
Oh, I just can't imagine that this conversation would go to that level and say, let's sabotage what we're doing and put some of the players we don't think deserve to be on the field out there. I don't know if that's ever happened in NFL history.
Oh, yeah,
I can't.
it has. Of course it has. I mean,
did you purposely lose games like that?
The Eagles did it. The Eagles did it a couple years ago against the Giants where they put in Nate Sudfeld. They sabotaged games. I mean, and Doug Peterson got roasted for that. I mean,
I do remember that. I remember watching the game going, why did he put Nate Sudfeld in? And then, of course,
exactly. We know why.
Well, now we know a little bit more, but I just can't imagine John Mara going and doing this, and I don't know. I look at the Giants and say this: yes, the quarterback situation needs to get better, but to think that that's the only problem, yeah, it's a good place to start. But no matter who comes in here, it's going to be rough, and then we're going to, oh my God, they drafted the wrong guy, and all this other stuff. So, look at the game. The Giants had so many chances to win the game. Drew Lock did okay. My God, he needs combat pay. The number of hits he took. I mean, it's a lot. I just got to say, fighting against the narrative that you're saying there, I just can't believe the Giants would purposely put their team in a situation where we know we're trying to help us lose instead of trying to win games.
Okay.
So,
all right. So
let
me ask you this question. Let's say they go 2-15 and they still don't get the number 1 pick. They get the number 2 pick. If they do get the number 1 pick, I guess everybody thinks Shedeur Sanders. That there's reports out there that Shedeur doesn't want to come to New York. I don't know if that's true or not. I would think that because Malik Neighbors is here and he has obviously spoken very highly of Malik and playing with him, that would be maybe a dream come true for him to come here to New York. But saying all of that, there's a report out there that came, and we played it earlier this morning, and I just want to get your take because I'm watching these college games, man. I don't know who's good or not good anymore right now because all these passes behind the line of scrimmage, it's ridiculous. But Cam Ward and his offensive coordinator potentially coming to the Giants. I think Shannon Dawson is his name. I don't know if you know him. I don't know how much you've watched of Miami this year and Cam Ward. Is that a guy that you think is worthy of either a number 2 or number 3 overall pick?
Well, listen, I'm going to hedge a little bit. I got to see more. I've watched him a lot. I really did take it. I said, let me just watch a couple games. I did this week just out of care because I'm trying to say, what the hell? The NFL, there's so many teams that we're not going to talk about, so I don't worry about them as much as the year goes along. But a few things I wrote down. And I wrote down number 1, wow. And I said wow because of this. To say he is aggressive is the biggest understatement in a word you could ever say about a quarterback and how he plays the game. It is. He does have a very good arm. He can throw it. Everybody talks about his low release that he has, his sidearm and his whatever. I won't get into all that. But he doesn't get passes batted down. But the one thing about him is, and I say aggressive, there could be a guy 10 yards in front of him that literally is not covered and he sees him, but he goes, yeah, that's not good enough. I want to move around and try to get a bigger play. And it's a lot. And it's so different than anything you'll watch in a college quarterback that you go, I don't know if I love him or just go, this would be a big risk. So I think it's close. He is a big guy. He moves around a lot better than you would think. Can break tackles. He's a big dude, and the arm. It's NFL. It's NFL really good, and so that's kind of what I see of him now. I don't know much about the kid, the person, all that, but plays very aggressive in the games and does make a lot of plays. You just go, wow, that was great, moving around, making that play, breaking a tackle, whatever you want. But there's concerns too. So as time goes on, look at him more and really get a better feel for who he is and where he's going to go in the NFL draft.
It's funny because just watching some of the highlights now, I looked at him like, you know what? He kind of reminds me of the late, great Steve McNair and just the way that he...
Oh, great analogy.
He's thick.
Yeah. You hit it. That is.
And I looked up the height and weight of both those guys exactly the same. So, I mean, he and I loved Steve McNair as a player. And, man, if he has like 50% of the want to that McNair had, I would draft that kid immediately.
And what did it say his height was?
6'2".
Yeah, he looks like he's 6'2", and I'd say he looks every bit of 220, 225.
He is, yeah, that's what he's listed, 223.
He's a little bit bigger than Caleb Williams, it looks like. He's about the same height, but he looks like he's a little bit, and I know you love this, Phil, thicker. He's thicker than
he's thick.
Oh,
yes.
You love the thick guys.
Yeah, what do you? You're the one that talks about it all the time.
No, you're the one that tells me. What did he not tell me?
I like them big and thick. We have the drop.
Yes, you said it. You even forgot you said it.
No, I understand. Listen, okay, whatever. I agree. You're right. I have said that in the past, but yeah. He's definitely going to be able to take some NFL punishment. There's no doubt about that.
All right, so he's going to be a top 5 pick then, no matter what. I mean, I think it's a foregone conclusion that he and Shedeur probably goes number 1, Cam goes number 2 in terms of the quarterbacks. Travis Hunter may go number 1, depending on who has the overall number 1 pick. Who knows? But it sounds like these 2 quarterbacks are at the top of the draft, much like this past year.
Yes, I would agree. Right now, I can't imagine Shedeur Sanders and then Cam Ward not being 1 and 2 in the draft. And we'll see what is uncovered as we go along and how this process goes. It always changes a little, and we find out more about them, and we got to pay attention to them more. But it is a class that overall, I thought it was going to be there for a while during the season. I was saying, this quarterback class might be better than I thought. And then as I keep watching, I look at Carson Beck, and I just go, no energy, just doesn't, you don't see him as the leader of a football team in the NFL, but I'm just watching TV and taking it off of that.
How about Quinn Ewers? How about that disappointment?
Well, yeah. I mean, so I hate to do this to kids, but you tell me the one characteristic that Ewers has that's going to make him a first-round pick. What would that be?
I don't know. I don't know what it is. He throws too many interceptions. First and foremost.
But I don't care. Tell me the physical element of his game. What is it that you think would make him a first-round pick or the franchise quarterback that you're looking for? And you can't give me one. Is it his size? No.
Who's better, him or J.J. McCarthy?
Not even close. J.J. McCarthy is Superman next to him.
Well, Gio doesn't think J.J. McCarthy can play in the NFL.
I didn't like the pick at all. But whatever.
Man, I'm really disappointed we didn't get a chance to see more of him, at least a few games during the year and whatever.
Well, I mean, are you disappointed? I mean, Sam Darnold's got him at 11-2, and he's breaking records through 5 touchdowns last week. I mean, are we really disappointed we're not watching J.J. McCarthy?
Well, no. I just wanted to see more of him, at least in preseason or a game or two in the NFL, because as what he did play in the preseason, I know it was very little. I just went, oh, wow, he looks the part on an NFL field. Yeah. The arm is very strong. He is very mobile, and, he's had success, all that. So, but Ewers is not in that, even in the same world as J.J. McCarthy when you talk about the draft and what you're expecting, whatever. So, but, hey, well, here you go, Gio and Boomer. There is Sam Darnold. Now, did he just discover that he has more talent all of a sudden? No. But he's got experience. Now he gets with a team that has good players, a good offense, great design. And as I watch him this past week, oh my gosh! I mean, he's just throwing the ball. He's throwing it. I know. Oh, I said it.
Yes.
But his power throwing the ball is better than I've ever seen it in his career, and that's the one thing that sticks out. And his toughness is big time. Yeah. Man, he takes hits and he throws under pressure as he's getting hit quite a bit.
Wow.
So I admire that.
The Jets had him and let him go. The Carolina Panthers had him, let him go. Goes to San Francisco, goes a little bit of quarterback school with Kyle Shanahan and Brock Purdy, and now all of a sudden he's with Kevin O'Connell. This kid McCarthy gets hurt, and now all of a sudden this is the real mature Sam Darnold.
Well, they even say, I've heard it when he was in San Francisco, that, he practiced so well that it put pressure constantly on Brock Purdy. And I kind of agree that. Sometimes, as you know, Boomer, you go on the field, you're a quarterback, you want to be the best thrower and the best guy out there every single day. And you go out there, and all of a sudden, Brock Purdy's, Sam Darnold's pretty damn good. And, physically he is. But now he's had a chance to put it all together, experience, time, and his ability on a team with a great system and players. I mean, come on. When you got Addison and when you got two top receivers running down the field for you, man, it's great.
It's going to be interesting to see what the Vikings do at the quarterback position. Do they trade McCarthy next year and sign Sam Darnold, or do they just let Sam Darnold walk out the building?
I think they have to go to the Super Bowl. And
you have an asset. You have a major asset.
I know. Trust me. And I would rather keep him and Sam, but they either have to get, in my opinion, because that general manager desperately wants to be not paying a quarterback to try to build this roster, and they want to have the JJ on the rookie deal. But if Sam either gets him to the Super Bowl and they lose a heartbreaker and he plays great, or they win the Super Bowl, it'll be the only way that he comes back. That's what I think
they do. But I agree, Gio. I think he needs good success. I don't know if he has to go to the Super Bowl, but getting to the championship game, I would really think puts a lot of pressure on him. And will there be teams that come out and go after Sam Darnold because they're going to give him one of these huge contracts? I don't see that either.
Could be like a Baker Mayfield. Could be like a Baker Mayfield deal with Tampa.
Yeah, it could be just like that. Then go wherever that is and have success like Baker did. Now he's got a bigger deal for more money. But with Sam Darnold, maybe Minnesota can make that 1 year, like, let's try one more year. So what? J.J. McCarthy, the first-round pick, has to sit on the bench for another year. I mean, we're finding out just time in the NFL makes you a better quarterback and a better player. So don't be in such a rush to take such a big gamble if this keeps working out the way it is. And I'll say this, yes, it is a good system, and he has those two really terrific wide receivers. Oh, and a good tight end too. But it's the way he plays, the physicality, the leadership. I mean, you literally see it on the field when you watch him play. So what a transformation, the way we judged him with the Jets to where he is now. And
that was the Jets' fault.
Yeah. Well, Phil, it's always great talking to you. Enjoy. We will talk to you next week, and then we'll have a little bit of a Phil Simms break, I guess, for a Christmas vacation. But it's great talking to you. Talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Thank you so much. I had some other stuff there. The Jets, can I give this real quick?
Oh, what now?
Well, the Jets' offense. Where the hell has this been all year?
Yeah. Well.
Oh my gosh! Let's move the quarterback. Let's do this. Let's do that. I mean, I was watching the game, going, "Well, what happened? Did somebody else?" It was crazy.
And they still lost.
And they still lost.
Yeah.
And they still lost. Yes. The defense. They're a Super Bowl defense. Don't forget that.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah, 85.
All right, guys. Thank you.
See you, Phil.
There goes Phil Simms.
Yeah, I never know where he wants to go. I know he has these things written down in front of him. He carries his notebook around. He writes.
I want to show a double feature on the rear end.
See, that's exactly right.
I like my linemen big and thick.
Yeah, exactly. See, big and thick.
Yeah, we were talking about the quarterback, though.